Hello, this is Ms. McCauley, and this is part 2 of solving addition and subtraction equations with no negative numbers. Okay, let's talk about a couple of properties. Okay, the subtraction property of equality. If you subtract the same number from each side of the equation, the two sides will remain equal. You should write equal in your notes. Let's now take our skills and try to do a word problem. Okay? Ruben and Tariq have 245.5 downloaded minutes of music. If Ruben has 132 minutes, how many belong? Oh, I meant to say how many belong to Tariq. Oh, let's just fix that. Hopefully, you will catch my error and also fix it. Write and solve an addition equation to find out how many minutes belong to Tariq. What do you need to find? Okay, this is the question. Okay, so what do we need to find? The number of minutes Tariq has. The number of minutes that belong to Tariq. How many minutes of music have they downloaded together? Well, that one shows right up here, so it's 245.5. What equation could be used to represent the situation? Now, this is a skill that can be very difficult to write an equation from a word problem. Okay, what you want to look for are some key words. The words have and is, those tend to mean equal, so let's write that up here. Is means equal. A lot of times have or has are equal. Those help us. So we know that when we're writing our equation, I often look for the equal first. So I'm going to write that in. Then we want to find the variable. That's usually found in the question. So you look and you say, write and solve an addition equation to find out how many minutes belong to Tariq. So that's the question. That's what we need to find, is how many that Tariq has. So that's going to be T. Now how do we find T? If Ruben has 132, Tariq has some number, and the total is 245.5, hopefully you would say, well, that's pretty easy. 132, Ruben's amount, plus, let's use, instead of using T, because it might look like the plus sign, let's use Q. 132 plus Q equals 245.5. What does the variable represent? It represents Tariq's minutes. Okay, what's going to be our first step to solving this? Look at the equation. It's an addition equation. So we would undo by subtracting, right? Undo the addition. So we will subtract 132 from both sides. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit more room here so that I can show that for you. So let's show the equation. You can maybe add another page to write this. 132 plus Q equals 245. Oops, I need to make more room. (132) plus Q equals 245.5. So let's subtract 132 from both sides. Line up the dots just like the Rapid Mathematician says. I'm going to draw the river. So Q equals, let's subtract here, bring down my decimal just like the Rapid Mathematician says. 5 minus 2 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1. So Tariq has 113.5 minutes. Okay, should we check that? Of course. Okay, so let's check it by plugging it back in. 113.5 plus 132 should equal 245.5, and it does. Good job. All right, let's go to another example. If you add the same number to each side of the equation, the two sides remain equal. Let's do a word problem. At age 25, German Titov of Russian was the youngest person to travel into space. This is 52 years less than the oldest person to travel in space, John Glenn. How old was John Glenn? Write and solve a subtraction equation. Okay, so it tells you to write and solve a subtraction equation, excuse me. So that means it has to be a subtraction problem. Okay, what do you know, or what do you need to find? Okay, you need to find how old Glenn was. Okay, so you can write that down. How old John Glenn was. That's the question that's being asked. You can always look and see in the problem. How many years older than German Titov was John Glenn? Well, how many years older than him was he? He was 52 years less than the oldest person, so that means that John Glenn was 52 years older than him. What equation could be used to write this situation? Well, if we were to have some sort of a bar diagram, we would have our total, which would be the age, and we would write something like John Glenn's age, or age, minus 25, which was German Titov's age, equals 52. Because they tell us that right here. This is 52 years less than the oldest person to travel in space. The variable represents John Glenn's age. What is the first step in solving this equation? Well, the addition property of equality tells us that to undo subtraction, we should do addition. So we should undo subtraction. Sorry, my writing. By doing addition. Let me just kind of, hopefully I can erase this. I'll fix it. Let me just write that a little neater for you guys. Subtraction. Okay, so the first step in doing the equation, so we would do A minus 25 equals 52. Draw your river, add 25 to both sides, and then we get A equals 77. So John Glenn was 77 years old. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you, and if you want to check your answer, you always know that you can take your variable and just plop it right back in and do 77 minus 25 equals 52. You can check that on your calculator, and yes, that is correct. Okay, hopefully this all makes sense to you, and you will do great at solving addition and subtraction equations. Bye for now. Okay, now that the video's over, please make sure to answer the last note check and also watch the movie called Undo It that's in your iTunes U course. It's another fun way to explain the whole undo process. Bye for now.